there's rumors flying around late last week that says Council Member Luis Chavez may not be running for Board of Supervisors. So we want to hear it from him directly. Are you, Luis, running for the Board of Supervisors election, which is March of 2024?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm 100% running for supervisor. We have $130,000 in the bank right now, cash on hand. We're obviously, going to be delivering that message to every corner of the district that, as you folks know, runs all the way from Malaga to Fresno State, Long Beach, and then the 99. So it's a pretty big area. We've been doing the work the last couple of months already, and we're going to continue to do the work. In politics, obviously, there's always the rumor veil of this situation or that situation, but I've gone through a couple of these already. I know what needs to happen. I told this to somebody jokingly, but not jokingly. I said I've run in every single election cycle since 2010, with the exception of 2020. So 2010, 12, 14, 16, 18, 22. So we're doing the work and we're going to keep moving forward. And I'm confident that we're going to earn the support of the constituents of the district and that Fresno County Supervisor area.
A fourth person might get in that race, I understand.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Do we have a name?
You'd probably ask Luis. I think there's somebody else that's already officially in.
Yeah, I believe that somebody actually pulled paperwork, the initial paperwork. But look, that's the nature of these elections. I always, term these this is probably the longest job interview that anybody can go on, right? So you get grilled by the constituents, you do your debates, your forums, you knock on doors, you get questions asked about what the county does, and at the end of the day, these seats don't belong to anybody. You go through the process and you got to earn every single vote, and at the end of the day, voters weigh in and they elect who they want for them to represent them. We've got a really great track record in this community in South Fresno of results. From parks and green space to working with our CDO partners to public works to really the core issues that people care about, and that's the message that we're going to take to the voters here in the next year. Primary is in March of next year. If nobody gets 50+1, it goes to November. So there's plenty of time to have that. And I'm sure that you folks are going to host a couple of forums to invite all the candidates. And we won't know that, by the way, until probably about December of this year, who actually files and who actually has the resources to get their message out. And I think that's when it'll be pretty telling. But the work needs to happen beforehand. You need to be out there every single day delivering your message, and that's what we intend to do.
So far, have any of your colleagues endorsed you? And then my second question is, were you somewhat surprised by Councilmember Arias entering the race, or did you kind of see that coming and not a big deal?
No, not a big deal. I mean, these are obviously, like I said, these seats don't belong to anybody. You go out and you work hard and you earn every single vote. And at the end of the day, that's what our democratic process is really about. You throw in the names. I don't think that's a bad thing, actually, necessarily, for constituents to have choices on who they feel would best represent them. And I have had, colleagues. We're going to be rolling out our endorsements list here, labor, elected officials, community leaders, faith-based folks that have been doing a lot of great work in the community. And to answer your question more directly, Supervisor Brenda, I was not surprised. We've been having conversations about this for the past couple of months. Up until 2 months ago, though, Councilmember Arias had endorsed me, and then some things changed. I understand that, but we got to move forward and we got to earn those support.
Quick question from one of the audience members, Lisa Giffen. What is Quintero not doing that makes 3 people want to get into the race? Basically, anything?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm saying this in a very respectful way to for Supervisor Quintero. I think during the pandemic, for whatever reason, he just disappeared, and that was the wrong time to do that. I think you have to actually show up and work on behalf of your constituents, and there a lot of things that the county's responsible for, public health being one of them. I was actually the chair of the COVID subcommittee, so we were working very closely with the Board of Supervisors that were on a daily basis what was happening. We were working with hospitals on what was occurring. And unfortunately, the current supervisor was nowhere to be seen. And I think that's something that, he will explain to constituents and the voters. That's one thing. The other piece, me being a foster parent myself and understanding the system, I was really disappointed in the fact that, he's the chair of the Foster Youth Oversight Committee, had not attended not one of the 17 meetings that he was supposed to. And then we had that situation that occurred. I understand that some issues have been addressed, but for me, I feel like I can bring that to the table being a foster parent and modernizing the foster care system. We got to make it much more easier for people that have a home and want to open up to children to make that possible. And right now it's really difficult to do that, having gone through the process myself. So those are two quick examples that I can point to say that this is what I would do differently than the current incumbent. I think that's what our county needs. It needs folks that can work across the aisle, that can build partnerships, that can be effective, and actually get things done on behalf of the constituents. I think people are tired and really just deflated with regards to people using sensationalist rhetoric and throwing these bombs everywhere. That's not productive. And Ronald Reagan had this saying that somebody that disagrees with you 90% of the time is still 10% your friend. And I think that's what we need. We need to work on that 10%. And I think we were able to do that even as a city with our partners, Clovis, with various other smaller communities around the city of Fresno, and even with the county to a certain degree during the pandemic. We didn't agree on everything, but I think we rolled up our sleeves and got things done on behalf of our constituents.